1 week from this very moment, the Cincinnati Bengals will either be 1-0 or 0-1 following the season opener in Oakland. So let me start with the poll question, guys. How many wins for the Bengals this season? 6 or fewer, 7-9, 10-12, or will it be that magical 13 or 13-plus win season, Richard Skinner?
I'm going to be stunned if you got a lot of people that vote for 6 or less or 13-ish or more. I'm going to go in that 10-12 range. I think that the schedule's more favorable than you think it is because Frisco looked like an awful game, and it's not now. I think this team has a chance to go 6-2, 7-1 at home. You do that, I can find you 4 winnable road games at that stage of the game. I think it's a 10-12 win team.
Tough schedule, a ton of West Coast trips. What do you say, Paul?
For that reason, I do think it's at 10-12. I think if we were playing a lot of these teams at home, I think we could definitely do better than even 12 wins. But I think we're going to be in that 10-11 win like we've been the last 4 or 5 years, which is good. So I think we'll be in that 10-12, and primarily just because we're going out west a few times. So.
Okay, so cut-down day was on Saturday. Practice squad additions were made on Sunday. So let's start with the most immediate. Richard Skinner, the practice squad additions. What can you tell us about a handful of these guys and who might contribute down the road?
2 guys that pop right off my head is Deshaun Williams, the defensive tackle, the undrafted free agent. He was great in camp. I thought he had a chance to make it. I understand they tried to slip him through, got him back. I wouldn't be shocked if another team doesn't take him at some point and put him on their 53-man. I love Troy Hill, the cornerback. He got caught in a numbers game, but he was great. So if an injury happens at corner, and Darqueze Dennard's got that injury history, I can see Troy Hill maybe being on the 53-man as well. It's a pretty good group because there's 3 or 4 guys that can contribute, I think.
Okay, and before we start to examine this Devin Still situation, because I do want to get into that, and I do want to give props to the Bengals for what they've done with Devin over the last year or so. Doug, let me ask you, was there a surprise on the 53-man roster in terms of someone who made the initial 53?
Not really. I think as I looked at the 53, there's not anybody that really was a surprise, and I think that's been the story of this team right now. We did not have a lot of drama going into this training camp. There was really, you pretty much knew who your team was going to be, and to me, I like who they kept on their practice squad. So to me, they got through without a lot of injuries. I think it's going to be a good, solid season. If we can stay healthy as we go along, we're going to be fine.
I mean, really, the only drama, and it wasn't a lot of drama, was whether or not they were going to put Vontaze Burfict on the PUP list or not, or keep him on the 53-man. They chose to obviously PUP him because they want him to be fully 100% after the 6 weeks and be ready to go.
And Chris Carter eliminated all of the drama about his situation by playing so well in these preseason games. He will absolutely help them. Let me address Devin Still. Okay, Richard Skinner. He did not make this football team this year because why?
He was literally the 7th best tackle out of 7 tackles on the roster that were left when they went into cut-down date, and it's a harsh reality of the situation. They only kept 5. I mean, Deshaun Williams, honestly, was a better player in training camp and preseason than Devin Still was. Deshaun Williams got waived, got brought back to the practice squad. Devin doesn't have that eligibility. So, unfortunately for him, I mean, he was 7 out of 7, and it just didn't work. And, as we sit here right now, he still hasn't been picked up by another team, so that says a lot.
Doug Pelfrey, let me ask you about Devin. Obviously, it's tough to see him go. We know the situation. It played out before a national TV audience, for lack of a better term, last year with his daughter, Leah. I want to give your former team props for how they handled that situation going back 12 months when they put him on the practice squad, when they didn't have to, and insured him to cover Leah's expenses.
Without a doubt.
And they did a tremendous job.
And I think that's where this team has gone so far from when I played. I mean, they would have made all the wrong decisions. Now, they seem to be making a lot of right decisions. They handled it with class. I was glad to see that Devin handled it with class as he exited. So to me, it was a win-win situation. And, I hate for the fact that, his daughter Leah, hopefully, he is good enough that somebody will pick him up eventually. Maybe the time home gives him a little bit of time to hang out with Leah and then go back refreshed.
Very quickly, before we touch on some more football matters, how will the insurance now for Devin work going forward? Because I know the Bengals are going to continue to insure him.
Yeah, well, actually, the NFL / the Bengals are going to do it. Basically, it works like this. If he gets picked up by another team and plays another 2 years, it's 5 years after he stops playing, whenever that might be. It might be 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5, whatever. If this is it, if the Bengals cutting him and nobody else picking him up, he still has 5 years of insurance from this point forward. So that's a pretty nice boost, and hopefully at that stage she's in remission. Hopefully by then all the medical bills are taken care of. Hopefully, 5 years down the road she's clean and they don't have to worry about this anymore. But it's still 5 years is a pretty long window. What they did last year was awful special, and it really was the right thing to do.
It was, and this, for all intents and purposes, ends our relationship, so to speak, with Devin Still.
He's a great kid.
And he is, and the Bengals deserve a ton of credit for the way they handled this situation for the last 12 months, every step of the way. doing the right thing
No question.
every
No
step
question.
of the way. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about this football team. From that last preseason game in Indianapolis, anything to take from that? It was all backups.
Well, it was all backups, but I think a couple of things to take away. I think P.J. Dawson continues to get better and better and better. He's not just running around like a chicken with his head chopped off. He's going in the right gap. He's taking the right steps. He's obviously making plays. And for one guy in particular, the only surprise to me on the roster, even though I predicted him on Saturday here on Local12.com he'd make it, was Chris Lewis-Harris. If he didn't play as well as he did on Thursday, I'm not sure he makes it. So that was a big, big game for him, no question about it. But no, I thought P.J. Dawson was the standout on Thursday night.
Yeah, for all those people who say get rid of the fourth preseason game.
There's guys battling, man.
There are guys who have jobs today because of that fourth preseason game. Okay, very quickly, we got 30 seconds left. Let me get an Oakland Week 1 prediction from both of you. Doug Pelfrey, give me the winning team and the score.
To me, I'm always going to go with the Bengals, especially Week 1. Even though they're going out west, I think looking at Oakland, I do think on paper we're a better team. I think in Cincinnati we're a better team. The only reason it'll be close is because we're going to Oakland. So I do think we win in a close one, but I expect us to come out on top.
What do you say?
I'm going to suck up the Pelfrey. I'm going to go with Mike Nugent kicking 5 field goals and the Bengals winning 29-17. How about that?
Well, defense is ahead of the offense
Yes,
this
it
time
is.
of the year usually. All right, guys, thanks so much.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week following the openers.